Visitors will begin arriving at the City Farmers Market any moment now. Outdoor farmers can sell at River Market starting today. 41 Action News reporter Ariel Rothfield has more on the safety measures being put in place to make sure that everything goes smoothly. Good morning, Ariel.
Well, good morning, Bryant. You know, there are a couple of shoppers already here because it's after 7 o'clock, so the outdoor farmers market is officially open. You can see there are a bunch of vendors here. Everything is spaced out. Joining me now is Jessica with Pink Pony Farms. You grow a lot of this in the Northland. Good morning. Tell us, or the Northeast rather,
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what customers can find here.
Okay, yeah, my name's Jessica. We're with Pink Pony Farms. We're located in Northeast Kansas City, which is just 2 miles from here. And we're gonna offer today a bunch of seedlings. So you can get your tomato seedlings and your pepper seedlings. And we do all heirloom varieties. And so we do hot peppers, sweet peppers, and then we also do in Northeast, just 2 miles from here, a lot of native berries. So we have native dried aronia berries and dried elderberry and beautyberry. So after the past year, people are kind of thinking more about food security. So the dried stuff lasts forever and, you know, just it'll stay fresh until you open it. And then we also grow a bunch of cactus from seeds, which just, you know, people like to have plants in their apartments. They're spending a lot of time in their space, so plants can just make it, you know, a more lovely place to be.
Absolutely.
And so we're super excited to be here because like all the vendors are back, the flowers are back, and just all the farmers are back, so we're really excited.
And Jessica, I wanted to ask you, you talk about a lot of people are spending more time in their apartments or thinking about food security. Tell us, this past year has been difficult for a lot of people. What does it mean for you to be back here?
It's great to be back outside. The doors are open. We have a ton of space so people can really spread out. This is really the most ideal way to shop. So, you know, open air, sunlight, really breezy, tons of fresh local stuff. So it's a good time to support local for food security. So I think everyone's back and they're excited about it.
Absolutely, and hopefully the temperatures will get warmer as the sun comes out. You can shop here today until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Reporting live, Ariel Rothfield, 41 Action News.
Should be a gorgeous day to get out and enjoy everything the market has to offer. Thank you very much. For the second time this year, a Capitol police officer has died in the line of duty. Hear from a close friend of the officer, plus what local lawmakers have to say about his death.
And we're looking at some great weather here for Easter weekend. The Royals play at 1:10 today and tomorrow. We'll look at that forecast coming up.
You're watching 41 Action News.
For the second time in less than 3 months, a U.S. Capitol police officer has died in the line of duty. Officer William Evans served with the department for 18 years. Investigators say a driver rammed into Evans and another officer with the car, then hit a barricade at a security checkpoint outside the Capitol. The acting Capitol Police Chief says the suspect jumped out of the car with a knife. Investigators have identified the suspect as 25-year-old Noah Green from Indiana. He died at the hospital after officers shot him. At this point, a motive for the attack is not known. A friend of the fallen Capitol police officer spoke about Officer William Evans. His friends called him Billy. He talked about how much Officer Evans loved serving his country at the Capitol.
He was so proud to be, on that force and to, serve and protect our lawmakers and our country in that way. And it was just, a joy and an honor to see the pride he took in his vocation.
Congress is in recess, so lawmakers were not at the Capitol. But lawmakers from our area made statements in response to this latest attack. Missouri Senator Roy Blunt wrote, "I am grateful for Officer Evans' courage and selfless service to our nation and that of all of the first responders who protect the U.S. Capitol complex." Kansas Congresswoman Sharice Davids tweeted her thoughts are with the Capitol Police and the family of the officer who died. Missouri Congressman Emanuel Cleaver wrote on Twitter, "My heart goes out to the family of the fallen officer and the other Capitol Police." We're just a few days away from Election Day in some cities. Still ahead, we have the details on the ballot item that has a major impact on Kansas City's budget. Well, Tuesday is Election Day for some cities on the Missouri side of the metro. In Kansas City, voters will decide whether to renew the earnings tax. The city says the 1% tax is its single largest revenue source in the budget. I spoke to the mayor about what will happen if it's not renewed. It's another busy day at Hyde Park Auto Service. One issue driving business? Potholes.
We had one winter where it just kept freezing and thawing and freezing and thawing, and potholes were terrible that year. So it hasn't been quite as bad this year, but we've seen our fair share for sure.
Kansas City knows about this pesky problem. And even though most of us have spent the past year in our homes, Service Advisor Elliot Dill is still seeing victims of the costly craters.
The most common thing is just flat tires. You go over a bad pothole and blow out a tire, so that's probably the most common thing we see.
Seeing potholes filled is also common, but it costs money. Money that also pays for first responders and other services.
Retaining the earnings tax is essential for us. This is not your normal tax issue election. This is something that is core to city operations, has been core to city operations for years.
City leaders expect nearly $270 million to be generated by the earnings tax this fiscal year. Because of the pandemic, that's $23 million less than what the tax normally generates. Mayor Quentin Lucas says if you vote no, the outcome won't be pretty.
We are stuck either substantially reducing expenditures to the tune of $300 million. That's more than the Kansas City Police Department and other city department combined, or we increase taxes precipitously.
Now, the city says if voters reject the e-tax, it will be phased out over a 10-year period. Once again, this is not a new tax. Voters said yes back in 2011 and 2016. And the e-tax, it will last for a period of 5 years. Now, voters outside of Kansas City will also make decisions on multiple bond issues for school districts, including Raymore, Peculiar, Grandview, and Lawson. Many districts also have races for school board positions. Again, Election Day is Tuesday, April 6th. Polls open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. and make sure that you bring your ID to the polls. Well, there is one voting option you should be aware of. Kansas City residents exposed to COVID-19 or those differently able can vote curbside. That option will be available from 10 to 7 on Election Day. Officials say voting at Union Station will be the best option for safe and fast curbside voting.
Here's your latest Kansas City forecast from meteorologist Jeff Penner.
Good Saturday morning. We take a look at the allergy report. The tree pollen is high. Juniper, elm, and maple. Others right now, grass and weed pollen are low. Mold is low, but that grass and weed pollen will be heading up here over the next few days. Not a cloud in the sky. Absolutely gorgeous here. And it is 49 degrees, a south wind, 16 miles per hour. Humidity still low considering the time of day it is, only 54%. The weather pattern has been calm across the United States here over the last few days. And our next storm system right now is slowly dropping south near Vancouver off of the British Columbia here. That's the next storm system. And as we take a look at our upper level flow, this is the satellite in graphical form. There it is. And over us, we have a ridge. And when you have a ridge, it's usually dry and warmer, and that is the opposite of a storm system. And our weather will remain great until this ridge moves away, and that is going to be not for another 4 or 5 days when that storm system comes out of the Pacific Northwest, moving slowly, and will arrive in the middle of the country on a Wednesday. When you see a storm system in this part of the country this time of year, you begin to think, could there be severe weather? And this one probably will produce some severe weather, but will it affect Kansas City? So let's go through this here. No severe weather today, barely a cloud in the sky, 75 degrees. And then tomorrow, 80 degrees after a low 50 to 55. If you're headed out to services at sunrise, it'll be not bad at all, 10 to 15 mile per hour winds and in the low 50s. And then Monday, 80 degrees, sunshine, looking very, very nice. Then as we take a look at Tuesday, we have a few more clouds out there and a storm system there begins to develop, and it'll be dry. But Tuesday night, cold front moves out into the plains. There could be some thunderstorms here on Tuesday that could be severe way out in Kansas. We will be dry on Tuesday, but whatever forms out there Tuesday night has a slight chance of rolling in here Wednesday morning in a much weakened state, but we could get a little rain out of that. We'll see about 20% chance right now. The best chance for severe weather would be Wednesday afternoon along this cold front, and it looks like that will be eastern Missouri. You can see here at 4 p.m. there's the best chance of thunderstorms, Des Moines to Columbia eastward. Again, this front slows down 6 hours, then we are in a threat. But right now it looks like it'll move by before we have any threat of severe weather. But over in St. Louis, that could be a different story. Then storm system front moves away and the storm kind of reorganizes. So during the day Thursday, A little windy, a little cool, and a few rain showers. But if you're looking for a good soaking rain on your yard or farm, not really going to likely happen with this storm system unless a little bit comes in Wednesday morning. And this is really the only rain chance for the next 7 days. If you're headed out to the K and the Royal, 68 pregame, 71 first pitch, the wind will be blowing out into the outfield. South wind 10 to 20, seventh inning stretch, 75 degrees, sunny, breezy, and warm. Royals going for win number 2. And for the weekend here on Easter, 75 today. South winds 10 to 25, 52 tonight. Sunrise tomorrow morning, 6:58. And then on Easter Sunday, 80 degrees, sunny and warm. Wind south 10 to 20. Same on Monday and Tuesday. A little more wind possibly on those days. There's a chance of some thunderstorms Wednesday. Cooler on Thursday.
After years of searching for answers, 2 families hope to finally get justice. Opening statements for a double murder trial begin Monday. Learn more about the case of Collier Use coming up.
Hi, I'm Toby Tobin. Are you tired of itching and scratching? Coming up, we're going to get rid of those bugs. Hi, I'm Toby Tobin. Do you like spiders, ants, centipedes, silverfish? If you don't and you want to keep them out of your home, here's the best way to do it. The warmer weather, recent rains, and onset of spring means those pesky bugs are looking to get into your home for food and shelter. I don't recommend spraying chemicals inside your home. It means exposure to you and your family, and also leaves a bunch of dead bugs inside your home. The most effective approach I recommend is spraying with Spectracide Triazicide mixed in a pump sprayer with water per label instructions. By spraying the foundation and landscape around your home, you are building up a layer of defense to control the bug population outside before the pests make it inside the home. Spray all around your foundation about 2 or 3 feet up and pay particular attention to areas with lots of plants and shrubs. Another easy step to add a further layer of defense is to apply Spectracide Triazicide granules in the lawn and landscape around your home. Just pour the granular insecticide in a lawn spreader and do about 2 passes all the way around the perimeter of your home and landscape. If you have children and pets playing in the yard a lot in the summer, Spectracide Triazicide is great for controlling fleas, ticks, and chiggers. This whole process of being your own exterminator will save you time and money, and you'll have a whole lot less itching and scratching and swatting going on this year. Plus, you'll keep those nasty chemicals and the bugs out of your home. Treat the outside of your home 4 times a year, once in the spring, summer, fall, and winter. If you ever have a bad bug problem indoors, do not go after it yourself. Then it's time to call a professional. That's it. I'm Toby Tobin. Have a great week.
You're watching 41 Action News.
It's 7:30. Good morning and welcome back to 41 Action News. I'm Bryant Madrick. Jeff Finner here with the first check of our forecast. Oh my goodness, that sun. Where are my sunglasses? It's going to be a great day.
I know. You know when you need sunglasses to look at a sky view camera, it's going to be bright out there. And we're looking really good. Not a cloud in the sky here. We're downtown Kansas City, the T-Mobile Center, and very quiet weather pattern going on. We haven't had many clouds the last several days. There's a few thunderstorms down in Texas, but overall, pretty quiet weather. That's going to continue until the middle of next week, and we'll be talking more about that coming up. So right now, temperatures not bad, around 50 degrees, 49 at KCI, 50 downtown, 45 Olathe, a little cooler in Carrollton, 41, Marshall, 43, and same with Chillicothe, 47 in Bethany, 44 Lawrence, 49 in Topeka. We will be adding 25 to 30 degrees to those temperatures as we get up to 75 degrees and a little breezy, about 10 to 20 miles per hour, but not that much of an annoying wind. So the Eat Outside Index for lunch and dinner near a 10, looking really good. What about for Easter Sunday? We'll talk about that, and we'll look into that next chance of a storm system here in a few minutes.
What the jury announced said Monday marks opening statements in the Collier Use double murder trial. The families of the 2 young women he's accused of killing are expected to be in court. Cara Kopetsky and Jessica Runyons were killed nearly a decade apart. The families say they hope to get closure from this trial. 41 Action News has been following this story for years, and we're providing in-depth coverage you won't find anywhere else. Our 30-minute special with all the details of the case airs tonight at 6:30. Plus, our digital team launched a podcast you can listen to right now. Here's a preview of one of the episodes that gives you an inside look at how it all unfolded.
And everybody was just like almost in like a panic or just frantic in the newsroom because, I mean, this is like this ties back to one of the biggest stories, I think, in the last decade. You know, everybody knew. I knew, everybody knew. And if you're from Kansas City, like you remember Kara Kopetsky and you know that story, and it's like, it's unbelievable. But you just feel just this overwhelming sense of like just sadness because what you thought happened really did happen.
All 6 episodes of the series are available now. You can find them on your favorite podcast app by searching The 41 Files. You can also listen to our website, kshb.com. Just click on the Journey for Justice section at the top of the page. That's also where you'll find even more resources to help you understand this case, including a timeline of events and a rundown of the key people involved. Now, we talked to a woman with the organization Parents of Murdered Children who knows the family's pain all too well. 41 Action News anchor Caitlin Canute shares what her advice is for families in the courtroom.
Joel Holbrook was a proud veteran who served in Desert Storm. He continued to serve in the National Guard even after moving to Kansas City to work as a corrections officer at the Jackson County Jail. Connie Sheely describes her younger brother as quiet but funny, someone who loved animals, working with kids, and music.
He was so much like my dad. He was young. He was 6 years younger than me, and he was my only brother. He was the baby of the family.
Sadly, shortly after this picture was taken in the fall of 1999, their family was torn apart. Holbrook was shot and killed inside his apartment in the 8800 block of Crystal Lane. A police report shows his body was discovered when someone went to investigate a foul smell and found his front door partially opened. Upon arrival, they found Holbrook's body, his apartment in disarray. More than 21 years later, the crime remains unsolved. We asked Kansas City police if they'd discovered any new leads, but all they could tell us is it's still an open investigation.
They said that they interviewed people at the jail and nothing came up in the investigation there. They just never found anything as far as we know.
For his family, the not knowing for more than 2 decades has only added to their grief. One thing that has helped Sheely is joining Parents of Murdered Children, a national support group for any family member who's lost a loved one to violent crime. She's not only received support, she's taken on a leadership role helping others. And while she hasn't worked directly with the families of Kara Kopetsky and Jessica Runyons, she does have this advice as they go to trial. Focus on your daughters and standing up for them.
Our loved ones cannot go there, cannot attend, cannot speak for themselves. So as survivors and family members and friends, that's our job to speak for them.
For Sheely, helping other grieving families helps to bring her some measure of comfort. Still, she and her family haven't given up hope that one day they'll get answers as to what happened to her brother here at this apartment complex.
You never get over it. You learn how to live with it. You learn how to move on. You learn how to cope and to survive, but you never get over it.
Caitlin Canute, 41 Action News.
One thing Connie Sheely really regrets is her brother was not at her wedding and never got a chance to meet her husband. If you know anything about Joel Holbrook's 1999 murder, please call the TIPS hotline. And remember, you will remain anonymous and could be eligible for a cash reward. This week, President Joe Biden announced the American Jobs Plan. The $2 trillion plan includes investment in roads, bridges, water, schools, and more. It will be paid for by raising the corporate tax rate. 41 Action News reporter Kat Reed spoke with the U.S. Labor Secretary about how it could make an impact, including right here in Kansas City.
Can you maybe reference any specific projects or aspects of life in Kansas City that we could see change as a result of the plan?
There are roads and bridges in your city and in the region that need support. There's definitely in the cares economy, there are women that have been pushed out of the workforce because of, for different reasons, maybe not having adequate child care or concerns. There's money in this $400 billion for the care economy.
Now, the president is depending on his cabinet to get support for the plan. While some Republicans say the plan does not have enough traditional infrastructure, other Democrats say it doesn't go far enough. Some analysts say progress on vaccinations helped push job numbers higher last month. The Labor Department reported an increase of 916,000 jobs last month. Economists expected an increase of 675,000 jobs. Analysts credit stronger economic growth and an aggressive vaccination effort, saying both are behind companies hiring more workers. Now, as of last week, AMC announced 99% of its theaters were open. Regal Cinemas started reopening its theaters just yesterday. It has been a tough year for an industry dependent on packing large crowds into enclosed spaces. But as Asher Qureshi reports, smaller theater owners are optimistic the show will go on.
In the past few weeks, theaters have been allowed to reopen in big markets like New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago for the first time since the start of the pandemic.
It's probably the toughest year we've ever had. I mean, the Pickwick has been open for almost 100 years.
Dino Vlahakis owns the iconic Art Deco Pickwick Theater in downtown Park Ridge, Illinois. The classic movie house has been a mainstay here for generations, but closed on March 16th of last year.
Movie theaters have had absolutely no income. The movie theater is worldwide a $48 billion business. And after March 16th, it went down to zero.
It has been a tough year. U.S. box office revenues dropped by 80% in 2020 to $2.3 billion, compared to $11.4 billion in 2019. Without any showtimes, the Pickwick turned to innovative ways to stay afloat. They sold popcorn, candy, and other movie night snacks for curbside pickup, minus the movie.
So we'll go home, settle down, and watch a movie.
Here you go. During the summer, the popcorn pickup was wonderful. We had good turnout. We did it once a week, and then we opened it to a second day. But we continued pretty much for every Saturday.
Thank you so much.
They also rented out their marquee for personalized messages.
Happy birthday wishes, graduation wishes, save the date wishes, and that's actually been something that we never thought would be we'd be doing it, and that turned out to be one of the biggest benefits.
But once again, the popcorn is popping. Theaters like the Pickwick, which has 900 seats in its main auditorium, are allowed to operate at up to 25% capacity.
When people are in the big theater, they do have a sign of relief because they feel much more comfortable in the big theater because there's nobody near them.
While the financial scars of the pandemic will linger for some time, Vlahakis says he has faith in the magic of cinema to help them rebound.
I really believe when the movies start to hit, and that's going to be about June, July, when you're going to see a brand new big picture coming out, I think then we'll get back. We're social people, and we love the movies.
Reporting from Park Ridge, Illinois, I'm Asher Qureshi.
A devastating murder-suicide in our area impacted an Olathe couple, but they turned what they learned from that tragedy into something that aims to help others. B&B Theaters in Overland Park hosted the movie premiere for The Ravine Friday night. Robert and Kelly Pascuzzi say seeing the crowd show up for their project is a dream come true.
It is extremely special to know that Casey has really stepped out and supported us in this message, and it means so much to be premiering it here in Kansas City.
Money from the premiere benefits the Child Protection Center in Kansas City, Missouri.
And we've had some great weather, but it's getting a little dry. No rain in the rain gauge in April. Average for the whole month, 3.73. When is our next chance of rain? It is showing up. Talk about that coming up.
It is 7:43. Welcome back, everyone. Well, customers are making their way to the farmers market this morning, and farmers, they can sell at River Market outdoors starting today. This morning, in fact, 41 Action News reporter Ariel Rothfield, she's there right now with an update on how things are going. So we checked in with you around 7 o'clock. Some people were starting to trickle in. It is now almost 7:45. How are things going so far?
Well, Brian, traffic is definitely picking up. People are excited because, of course, it is the first day that the farmers market outside is open. And really, after a hard year, a lot of people are just excited to come here, see old faces, get products and whatnot. But this year, I was saying earlier this morning, there are several new vendors, one of which is Joanna. Good morning, Joanna. You are joining us live on 41 Action News. Tell us a little bit about your tonic syrup that you have to offer.
Oh, I'd be happy to. So what these are tonic syrups. They're concentrated syrups. They're going to have a lot more flavor than commercial tonic water because I use fresh citrus juices, I steep spices and botanicals, and I use the bark that's the original source for quinine, which is the cinchona bark right here. That's what gives my tonic this amber color. So when you think of a tonic water, it's kind of blah. You only want it in summer. This is pretty interesting through the year because it has all of those flavors. So to make a gin and tonic, what you're going to do to use 1 ounce of the tonic syrup, 2 ounces of gin, 3 ounces of club soda or seltzer. On the website, there are other liquors that go with it, and you can also make mocktails. There's no liquor in this, so you can also make mocktails with this as well.
And this is the first time customers in Kansas City can get this because it's your first time that you are going to be here in Kansas City. Why did you choose here? And also, what does it mean to finally be able to be among vendors after a hard year and be face to face with some of the customers?
Well, I'm a company, I've been doing this for a few years. I was doing Omaha last year and had a Kansas City customer come to my booth and buy my product and said, you should really try our city market in Kansas City. It's a really awesome market. So of course I looked into it and here I am. So I'm a seasonal vendor on Saturday and Sundays here. So.
And it feels pretty good to be back?
Yeah, and both this year and last year, I think people have enjoyed farmers markets so much because we're all staying home, we're not eating out, that kind of thing. It's the thing that feels most normal to be able to do this. Like if you're a normal farmers market shopper, you get to be out in the fresh air, be with people, interact with farmers. It just feels like the most normal thing you can be doing while COVID's happening.
Absolutely. And you know, this is all outdoors. Everything is socially distanced. Everyone is required to wear a mask when you are here. If you want to check out all of these great products, maybe pick up some tonic syrup, you can do so today until 3 o'clock this afternoon. We are live. Ariel Rothfield, 41 Action News.
Here's your latest Kansas City forecast from meteorologist Jeff Penner.
Thanks, Ariel. And it's going to be great for any outdoor activities today, including the Royals that play at 1:10 p.m. today and tomorrow. It's looking really good. 49 degrees, wind south at 16, although the Royals, the wind out of Kauffman Stadium will be blowing out towards center field with that south wind. And the weather pattern very quiet. We've had very few clouds in the sky for several days. Our next storm system right now is drifting south just west of British Columbia, and this won't arrive in the middle of the country until Wednesday. So let's